I'm Carole Freeman of Hypnotic Nutrition. I'm the creator of the 90-Day Keto Diet Challenge. I'm here today with Brion, and he's going to share about his health transformation on ketogenic diet. And Brion, we met randomly out hiking with mutual friends, and it turns out we're both following ketogenic diet and have experienced some amazing health improvements and transformation. And so I invited you to come over and share your experience with me. So
great.
Will you just tell us who you are and
yes.
a little bit about who you are?
Yes. I'm 59 years old. I'm a software developer. I've been doing that for 35 years. When I was a young person, I was more active. I used to hike and backpack and things like that. And then I just became sedentary and raised a family and that whole thing. And ended up getting fat and getting depressed and being unhappy and being divorced and being just feeling like there was really nowhere to go. And so then just like last April, my son, I think it was last April or so, my son told me that he had changed the way that he was eating, and that he had cut back on his carbs dramatically, and he was feeling a lot better, and that maybe I should give it a try. And so it's like, okay, so what I started to do you want me to keep going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. So what I started to do.
Double check here. Yeah, we're good. Okay.
What I started to do then is using him as a guide, since he was like, I wasn't interested in actually learning how to do anything. I just wanted to be told what to do.
Okay.
And so I started to track what I was actually. That's the first step. I started to track what I was actually consuming and what I was actually eating, and I learned some stuff that was that really turned my brain around. Like for instance, I found that I was consuming like 600 to 800 calories a day in beer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, in order to not blimp out completely on that, I was cutting back on food.
Oh.
Instead of eating food, I was drinking beer.
Okay.
And so, learning how to be hungry and just satisfy that with beer.
Oh.
And so I figured out that this wasn't very good, and I was actually seeing things from that. I was seeing things like my fingernails cracking. And things like that from not getting sufficient nutrition. And then it seemed like a cycle that was getting worse. Okay. So
well, if we go back to when you when you first decided to kind of start trying what your son was trying, was your goal just to lose weight, or what did you think it might do for you?
Yeah, I think to lose weight.
Okay.
Because I had I was at kind of a local high at that point. Well, and then I had taken up a game that involved walking around outside.
Okay.
Okay. It was I don't want to get into the details, but it was like a phone game that you walk around outside and listen and do things on your phone as you walk around.
Okay.
So I'm walking several miles a day, and I decided that I already had this level of activity going to see if we could. Oh goodness. Okay, so.
Well, let's just backtrack in case we missed all that. So.
Yeah. Maybe we can. Short it. So I said I don't have a shortage of words.
Well, I'll just go back to.
Do you want to?
No. Well, I'll just chop out that part.
Okay.
So let's just go back to when you first started making these diet changes.
Yeah.
What it sounds
well,
like.
The big thing was the beer, right? So that's why I was stressing it, because
Okay.
it was a huge thing to understand how much beer I was drinking in calories, and so.
But your goal then was to lose weight, and it sounds like maybe to gain some mobility, some more energy.
And to be more healthy, just to try to be more healthy.
Okay.
Because I realized that I was kind of at an end point of this. That this lifestyle isn't really working.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I also I mean, for the same reason, I used to be a smoker, right? But I didn't want to. I didn't want to be locked into being a smoker, so I didn't want to, for instance, date a smoker.
Oh.
But so here's a smoker who doesn't want to date a smoker. You know, it's like it's stupid, right? It's just like you're never going to get any dates that way. You know, so it's a similar kind of thing. So if you're a depressed person who's fat and sitting around all day, you're never going to do anything.
Oh,
So
yeah.
your life isn't going to go anywhere.
Okay.
So that finally hit me, and I decided to see if I could do something different. Okay, so we're back to discovering then that how much I was drinking, and what I found then, and this was a real game changer, was I found Bud Select 55 beer.
Okay.
Okay.
Low calorie.
Yeah.
Okay.
55 calories per can, which
Okay.
is about half of a regular beer.
Okay.
And only, gosh, I think it's 1.9 grams of carbs per beer, okay, per can. So I started drinking those, and they worked. They, like, my brain, you know, thought I was drinking beer, but they're not good enough that I would sit and go like, boy, I think I'll have another one. So all of a sudden they were self-limiting.
Okay.
So all of a sudden
They
it
didn't
became,
taste as good.
yeah, it wasn't great, and they're also like half the alcohol of
Okay.
the beer I'd been drinking. So so this led to more revelations
Okay.
of, for instance, why am I spending 110 calories on this beer when I don't even feel it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, what's involved with needing to feel something?
Ah, yeah.
You know?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, raises more questions. Okay, so the end result was that I stopped drinking them. I just
Okay.
stopped. I'd rather eat food than drink these beers. Okay, so well, meanwhile, okay, so then things started to get serious at that point, and I started to really cut back on. Up until then, I'd been working on like 50 grams of a day.
Okay.
And I did that
50
for
grams of carbs. you
50
mean? Yeah.
grams of carbs
Okay.
a day. Yeah, and I was dropping weight, like 2 pounds a week.
Okay.
Even, you know, with this, and then it's
So
like,
what was your high point? Where'd you start your weight?
well, when I started all this, I was at like 235,
Okay.
235 pounds.
And how tall are you?
So I'm right over 6 feet tall.
Okay.
Yep. So and I'd always been that weight basically ever since high school.
Okay.
I was a football player in high school, and I was trying really hard to become over 200 pounds.
Oh, okay.
So I believe I hit 200 pounds when I was 15 years old.
Okay.
So and I was lifting weights, and you know, it was all muscle type thing. Although it was, you know, built on, I'd been a fat kid. So yeah, so there was still fat, you know, fat and muscle, right?
Okay.
So 200 pounds, and
So you were
so-
doing 50 grams of carbs a day. You're dropping 2 pounds a week.
2
but
pounds a
then
week.
When you decided to cut
Decided to, yeah, just to see if, you know, to really try it. My son kept saying, you know, you should really try to get into the 20 grams
Yeah.
of carbs, you know, net carbs, and net carbs. I always do the 20. There are some people who believe in the gross carbs, right? The
Yeah.
total carbs.
Yeah.
So I've never would be able to do that because I still believe in fiber.
Okay. Okay.
So that's one thing.
Another controversial, all
yeah.
these controversial keto
Yeah,
topics:
yeah, there's all
fiber,
these
net
different-
versus total carbs, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. My son is not a fiber person, but I believe in fiber.
Okay.
And veggies.
Okay.
So, okay. So, yeah, so I cranked it down, and basically the same thing continued, and till finally, probably a few months ago now, I hit the low point that I have hit, and
Okay.
and I've hit that a couple of times. It was around 191 pounds.
Okay.
So somewhere around 42 pounds or something from the high.
Okay. And
Okay.
how long of a period?
Well, that was from
for?
last May
Okay.
until probably October or November.
Okay.
So somewhere in
So
there.
about 6 months.
So
or so,
then
yeah.
I've been basically on a plateau. I was on a plateau. I just found out yesterday I was on pretty much a plateau until after Christmas, and then over the last month I've ballooned 10 pounds.
Well,
So-
you took a vacation from the scale, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
decided to stop weighing yourself.
Yep.
And you
then
did.
I
You
stopped
thought
doing religious tracking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you thought you were just maintaining.
I thought I was going to be able to maintain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you hadn't
So-
changed what you're eating, or
No.
like not a great
No,
deal.
I don't. No, and I especially didn't, for instance, go back to carbs or
Okay.
anything like that. I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay.
They don't have the appeal and that quick energy that you get. It doesn't appeal to me. Just like for instance, today I haven't eaten, and I don't feel like I'm having any lack so far. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Like I feel like there's a feeling like at one point you can feel a little bit of like, oh, I'm hungry, but then it will pass if you wait.
Yeah.
And that wasn't real hunger. That wasn't really it. Okay.
Yeah, it was more of like
So-
you thought about food, or you looked at the clock, or
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you saw an ad for some food or something.
Maybe.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so
So-
that's one of the benefits then that you've noticed then is like a steady energy.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the benefits have been really awesome. Like I started to notice that I felt an energy.
Okay.
Like, gee, I feel like I could do some push-ups right now, and it's
And
like,
you might
well, like,
need to
who
because
is
you have so
this
much energy.
person?
Yeah.
Yeah, who is this person
Yeah.
doing? And so then, like a few months ago now, I joined the Redmond Athletic Club,
Okay.
and I started doing weightlifting and working out on like weight machines. And then it's like, oh well, I'd really like to have better form and stuff. So I bought 12 sessions with a personal trainer.
Okay.
So I have that going on several times a week right now.
Yeah.
And
Well, and that's a common thing I've seen with the keto transformation, or moving into that fat burning phase, is
Yeah.
that whereas most people go into a diet program and they think they need to work out and cut calories and that's the focus, whereas with a ketogenic diet is that you change what you're eating, you change the macros, you focus on lowering carbs, increasing fats, and then the energy just comes.
Yep.
And you find yourself wanting to work out for maybe the first time
That's-
ever, and
yeah.
needing to go for walks and wanting to lift weights and all
Yep.
these, you have so much
Yeah,
energy
you kind of
that you
bouncing.
want to do those things,
Mhm.
as opposed to the traditional approach, which is forcing yourself to do it, even though you don't have the energy or want to do it. Whereas with keto, it comes the other way around, which is really, showing that your body's now in a mode that's more healthful for it, and
Yeah.
that you're actually, your cells are getting the energy they need, your brain and your body, and you have not only the ability to do those things, but you have the desire and the energy to match that. So
I think, yeah,
that's great.
I think that's right.
Yeah. So you're working out with a trainer, push-ups. So more energy, more physical energy. What other benefits did you notice? Weight loss. We already talked about
the weight
that.
loss. I've noticed better. Well, I noticed my before I mentioned my fingernails.
Okay.
That's all better now.
Yeah.
And what are some of the other things? Well, I went down in like clothes size.
Okay.
So I have a closet full of clothes that I can't wear right now. Although that was one of the first signs was that I was gaining some weight, was that I noticed that these pants were a little tight around the legs.
Okay.
These are like the athletic cut, which I'm going to be careful not to get next time because I have like big legs anyway, just
Okay.
naturally, and so they're kind of tight. And so then I noticed they're getting tighter, and it's
Okay.
like something's going on. So yeah.
Well,
So this is my only pair of like pants that are sized to fit me right now.
Okay.
I have a whole closet full of pants that don't fit me.
Oh, okay. So they're too
So,
big.
Yeah, they're all way
Okay.
too big.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and in fact, I wore the pants I wore hiking that day.
Mm-hmm.
Those were pants from when I was in my 20s,
Oh.
and they were swimming on me.
Yeah,
They were
yeah.
huge. Yeah, so I was surprised that
Yeah.
so even then I was bigger than I am now.
So many people have that idea that they want to get back down to their size that they were in their 20s, and most people that's a completely unrealistic goal, and so it must have felt kind of interesting to get back down to
Oh
where
yeah,
those
to where
pants
I
again.
was in my teens.
Yeah.
I was for a while. Well, if I get to 185, which is actually my goal,
Okay.
and that would be 6 pounds below my low point so far.
Okay.
Gosh, I mean that's like when I was a 16-year-old,
Wow.
16, 17-year-old. So or less, right? Somewhere
Yeah.
in there even,
Okay.
right? It could be 7th grade even.
Oh wow.
So it's like, wow. And then to think of myself as being like strong and like a wiry, unfat person, that there's something really attractive to that in my own mind. So
kind of an empowering. To
Yeah.
feel like you can work with your body to make it
yeah,
transform it
something
rather
I'd
than fighting it.
never really believed before.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was always work, it was always torture.
Yeah.
And it isn't torture in the same way. Even the things that the trainer has me doing, like like I swear a year ago, I would be turning my head and raising my eyes, doing whatever that thing is when you just miss, rolling your eyes. There we go. This is the thing about learning a foreign language, is that you lose some of the stuff in your own language.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
this has happened to me before.
Okay.
So.
So how about, so you said originally, you were, overweight, depressed, and drinking a lot. So
Yep.
how about, tell me about your mood then, what you,
Yeah, well, yeah, so the moods have gotten better because alcohol is a depressant, and it's really hard to get around that.
yeah.
So even if you feels good at the time, it's ultimately a depressant.
Yeah.
And so getting rid of the alcohol was a huge thing for feeling better.
Yeah.
And then I've been a long time meditator.
Okay.
But I let that slide. And so kind of things kind of hit a low point for me over the last few years, and so like that slid, and basically a lot of things slid. And so I've picked that back up again.
Okay.
And I joined the group here, although I haven't really started going yet, but I've joined the group at least, and I started contributing money to them and things like that. So it's like I'm paying for it. I think I'll probably start going soon.
Sounds like a gym membership.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like that, and it's over in Seattle, so that's always a hurdle for me. I'm not a big fan of driving. But
Well, how about, so sometimes we don't notice benefits or effects on ourselves. Anything anybody else has said that they notice different about you now? Or
Well, I've lost some of my friends. I've lost some friends, right? Because, like drinking buddies.
Okay.
There are some friends that are conditional friends.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're not going out and drinking with them, then you don't see them as much. And things like that. They're not conditional friends. I mean, it's not that the friendship itself is conditional. It's more like the circumstances are conditional, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you are present less in those conditions, you're gonna see them less. Yeah. So things like that.
Okay.
So that's what I've really noticed.
Okay.
Nobody's really said. People have noticed that I lost weight.
Okay.
Things like that.
Yeah. Well, I wonder in the beginning, what kind of were the biggest challenges that you faced in the beginning of transitioning, making this big change to your diet?
At first, it was the hardest thing was to get enough protein.
Okay.
It felt like I was always struggling. It was like to get enough protein. So it was like eat as much protein as I possibly can, and in hopes of getting enough.
Okay.
And then that became easier. Well, I shifted more toward meat.
Okay.
Okay. So I had been trying to do it like with less meat, I think.
Okay.
And so, so at first I was throwing everything at it, like whey and, everything, right? So whey is controversial too. And so I have still a big old tin of whey that I'm working on slowly. But I think that whey has been part of the reason that I've slowed down too.
Okay.
So, yeah, and cheese, well, I see all these clues in the Facebook group, right? Of people say, oh, it's nuts, or it's cheese, or so yeah, I eat nuts, yeah, I eat cheese.
Okay.
So, and I think that the common denominator there is that they're really dense food, right?
Yeah.
It's like the difference between 1 ounce of cheese and 2 ounces of cheese isn't that much when you look at it, but it's double.
Double the amount of calories.
Yeah, it's 300 calories versus 150 or whatever. So and 300 calories is a good chunk of my day. So
So any other challenges in the beginning? Any struggles with like cravings or?
Well, I've had ongoing problems with leg cramps in the
Okay.
middle of the night.
Okay.
And so everyone talks about electrolytes and how important that is. So
Yeah.
I've been religiously taking potassium and magnesium supplements.
Okay.
And I do believe that helps, but I also found that I'm not, that I'm probably chronically dehydrated.
Okay.
So I don't drink enough water every day.
Oh.
And
are
I
you doing the
subsist on
sodium?
coffee.
Are you doing the sodium?
I have started to do
Okay.
more sodium.
Okay.
Yeah. 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 I've got that real salt and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's interesting stuff.
Yeah. And
It doesn't actually dissolve in water very well.
oh, because all the other minerals.
Yeah, it leaves traces.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, maybe, adding Volek and Finney were the primary researchers on this, and so they've shown that at least 2 grams a day, a whole teaspoon of salt
wow.
a day is a minimum
Yeah.
that helps you maintain that electrolyte balance a lot
Yeah.
better. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been working up to that, I
Okay.
think, and then the other thing is my weird sleep habits.
Okay.
But that's actually kind of been, I don't know, it maybe something to do with age too. So, because it's just gotten strange, and it got more and more strange. For a while, I was waking up at 2 a.m.
Okay.
and and then going to bed at 6 in the evening, that kind of stuff.
Ah.
And so right now I'm on go to bed at 7:30 and read for a while,
Okay.
kind of thing, and then wake up. And right now I'm shooting for waking up at 4, but I wake up at 3:30. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh.
So I'm at 3:30 now.
Okay.
That was this morning.
That's pretty early.
Yeah, it's pretty early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
For
are
a
you-
while, see, and I think I was rewarding myself for waking up that early. I'd
Okay.
make a good breakfast and have all kinds of stuff.
Ah.
So,
How are you waking feeling rested and refreshed at that time
Yeah.
now? Okay.
well, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So do you find you sleep more soundly now, more restfully?
Sometimes, yeah. Well, I think I'm just working on a lot of stuff. I used to dream analysis, and I think I'm just working on a lot of stuff in my dreams.
Okay.
So, because there's just lots going on. Well, and then I think I have to pee all the time. That
Oh.
may be connected to keto
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I'll have to pee, and I'm just surprised at how little it is. And I'm thinking, gosh, that stuff must be really toxic or something. My body's just saying, like, get rid of this.
Oh.
So, or maybe I'm not drinking enough water, so it's all, concentrated. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows what the answer is, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, we are excreting some stuff
Yeah.
somehow, right? Ketos or whatever.
Well, yeah, and that's why they recommend the higher sodium intake as well, because it is very diuretic diet.
Yeah.
By increasing sodium intake, it helps maintain
Yeah,
electrolyte
that's how
balance.
people lose
Yeah.
losing that weight in the first week or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, extended. So, all right. Well, any other benefits that you've noticed?
I've noticed that I have just more energy mentally.
Okay.
So so I've taken up learning a foreign language,
Okay.
and I've I'm looking forward to trying to enjoy life more than seem like the path I was on earlier. So
Well, I think that's a common thing people find, is that they have more time, not only mentally to think about things, but during their day, whereas they used to be spending more time thinking about food or preparing food or eating food. It frees up a lot of mental power and time in your day when you're not spending so much time doing those things.
yeah, I bought myself an Instant Pot
Okay.
for Christmas,
Ah.
and I've used that a few times, and that's I think going to spur me to do more cooking.
Okay.
So
I haven't tried those, but I heard they're all the rage.
Yeah. Well, I'd been thinking already about a pressure cooker, and then when I saw that somebody has an electric pressure cooker, I
Yeah.
was just like, "Oh, this is brilliant!"
Yeah.
And it turns out it is like you can fire it up and cook boiled eggs in it, in 7 minutes you've got like hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah, that's what I have, a standard pressure cooker that I do, but I might have to try
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. So it just beeps up time,
Okay.
and it releases the pressure and all that stuff all automatically, right?
Oh.
So
Oh, cool.
yeah,
Nice.
it's pretty
A
slick.
little more foolproof then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. What other questions did I have for you? So how about like the psychology of this kind of change, and as your body's changed, have you found that, you know, have you felt like you've lost your identity and have found a new one, or do you feel more now like yourself and you're coming into who you feel like you are? How's that been for you?
Well, gosh, I think it's a new identity, which I think is partly why why left unattended, I let things drift upward. And it's because, because my identity was always as a fat person or
Okay.
as a big person.
Okay.
As a big person.
Yeah.
So even when I was a kid, people would just say, "Well, you're just a big person. You're just big boned."
Okay.
And my son was raised the same exact way.
Okay.
And so it actually, like, it started to look like I'm just a normal person.
Okay.
And so I really like that idea.
Yeah?
Well, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like that idea
Okay.
of being a normal person and then being really, really strong.
Okay.
The old man who's really strong,
Yeah.
wiry, like weightlifter type.
Yeah.
Not necessarily not a bodybuilder, but just strong. Like for instance, yesterday we worked on standing broad jump. It turns out one of the first things that older people lose is the explosive muscles.
Okay.
And so he was saying, we're going to work on these. It's the ability to do an explosive move.
Okay.
And he pointed me to look at the YouTube video of the guy who recently broke the record for standing broad jump, over 12 feet.
Oh, wow.
This guy jumped. Oh, man. It's amazing.
Okay.
And then he also, the same day, broke the vertical jump record, 45 and a half inches. It's vertical.
So it sounds like you're having aspirations to do things that maybe you never thought of doing, or especially, like you're saying, calling yourself the old man,
Yeah.
it sounds like maybe
Strong
you were
old man.
resigned to, just life was going downhill, and now
Well,
are you
I'd
just
always
feeling-
thought of that.
Okay,
Yeah, I'd always
okay.
thought of, I never had any aspirations to actually be old. I think that's why I'd kind of gotten hopeless, because it's like, well, it's a one-way path, and all I'd ever really seen was old people who lose it.
Yeah.
And
okay.
so I didn't, I didn't want to do that. And so now I actually think there's a potential that I won't lose it,
Yeah.
or at least I can hold on to it longer, maybe.
Whole new
So.
chapter in your life of
Yeah.
possibilities, huh?
Yeah, things
Yeah.
are looking up.
Yeah.
So
That's exciting.
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
That's great.
I'm pretty pleased about it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, so I know we're going to talk about this very controversial topic about, in the ketogenic world, there's a controversial topic about whether calories matter or not, or whether you keep your insulin low enough, whether you can gain weight or can't gain weight. And so you had shared with me before that you felt like you were in maintenance phase. You'd reached 191 pounds, about a 40-pound weight loss. And so you moved away from tracking your food, weighing it, measuring it. You'd moved away from weighing yourself and took a month off from the scale.
Yeah.
So tell me more about what you discovered just recently.
Yeah. Well, actually, I had been kind of slacking off with the weighing and the moving into more of the maintenance. Well,
Yeah.
it seemed like it was happening on its own.
Yeah.
So I basically plateaued, and I was going to need to do something different. And so I decided to let's see what it's like to be 194 pounds,
Yeah.
which is basically what it was about at, where I'd sort of leveled off at. And so I stayed that way basically, I think, all through November and December.
Okay.
I was just staying right around 194 pounds. And then just in the last month, all of a sudden I found that I'd gained 10 pounds. It was just like yesterday. And
you hadn't weighed, so you just
yeah.
got on this.
Yeah, and I got on
getting
the
a little tighter.
I
so you
noticed my
decided-
pants were tighter. I saw a picture from the hike that I met you
Okay.
on, where I said, "Wait a minute, where's that pot belly? Where did that pot belly come from?" And I mean, because I know I'm still working on body fat that I have, and I think I'd stopped, but it looks like I was starting to pack it on again. Maybe.
Okay. And you
or
hadn't really changed what you're eating so much.
No,
you still,
not
yeah.
at all.
Mhm.
No, although I had been, I noticed that I had really increased my consumption of whipping cream, for
Okay.
example.
Okay.
So it's more of that dense food, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that was what I was going to say about cheese and the other thing earlier too, right? Is that if you eat if you eat those things, you need to be really careful because, like nuts, Trader Joe's sells a nut. It's the roasted pecans, or salted pecans.
Yeah.
And one bag of those is 1,600 calories.
Okay.
1,600 calories, and I can polish off a bag. I can polish off half a bag of those in an hour.
Okay.
So it's like you got to be really, really careful with those things because you can, well, I believe, and I've seen that if you eat way more calories than you need, you will gain weight.
Okay.
So that's my belief.
Yeah, well, and it was kind of your experience.
Yeah, and that's my experience.
You didn't ramp
I
up
knew
your
I was eating
carbs.
more.
You didn't start, go to the holidays and start indulging in those foods. And so,
no, because my family eats the same way. My son eats the same way.
Okay.
So we were eating, we were faithful the whole time. And in fact, when I came back from California, I was the same weight.
Okay.
So this has literally happened since the 29th of December.
Oh, okay, okay.
So 1 month from I'll go today.
Well, so it might be then what some people talk about carb creep, but it sounds like for you it's just more of calorie creep.
Yeah,
maybe.
definitely.
Is that just adding a little bit more of this and that has really added up to, more calories than probably what your body needs.
I think so. Yeah. Well, and then we kind of had a little bit of crappy weather recently too, and so I had a religious walking every day thing, and I slacked off on that.
Okay.
So I was that's probably represented like 200 or 300 calories a day just in walking.
Okay.
That I was doing vigorous walking, and that I just stopped for a while.
Okay.
And so I think it all contributed. I slowed down a little bit, and then I found one day that I had consumed 12 ounces of whipping cream that day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's 1,200 calories right there. So, and I think I logged 800, and then I went, wait a minute, it looks like you drank a lot more than that.
Yeah.
So you got to be honest with, if you're going to log this stuff, you got to be honest with your logging. And I was scrupulously honest at first, and then I found but who am I cheating? Cheating myself.
Yeah.
So, yep.
So it sounds like it's kind of an eye-opening moment you've had the last few days, and
at first it was soul crushing.
Well, yeah. So what's your plan going forward? Are you just saying keto doesn't work?
Just double down. No,
keto doesn't work. Forget it. I'm going back to my old ways.
Yeah, no, that's never going to happen.
Okay.
I don't believe that's. I'm not enamored with the old ways at all. In fact, I made a couple days ago, I made a big old bunch of fatted pizza crust.
Okay.
And I just love to just eat that, just like a cracker.
Okay.
I mean, it isn't crisp like a cracker.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can make it crisp like a cracker, but it's so delicious. And then I found some Parmesan crisps the other day, and I've made those too, and that kind of stuff. But then again, we're talking cheese again. So got to be really careful. But no, I'm not going to give up, and in fact, I'm doubling down.
Okay.
I'm gonna, So
the foods then that you found that you were.
I'm gonna take a break from the whipping cream for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a break from no more 12-ounce days of whipping cream. I did have a couple ounces today, but I was like carefully limiting.
Yeah.
Because I've had like two pots of coffee, right? So.
Okay.
Couple ounces of cream and 2 pots of coffee.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to hearing then, in another month, what the results of that change for you are. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
it's a long-term process. So.
Well, and doesn't it? I mean, I'm going to assume here, but doesn't it feel empowering to know that instead of feeling defeated, like, wow, this doesn't work, it's like, wow, I know I'm just going to make this little tweak, and I know everything.
I know it's going to work.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, because I don't think there's anything magical about it. The thing that, that's why I don't think I never have done any testing as far as like had strips or anything like that.
The ketone
because
strips
because the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
It's like while I was in the weight loss phase, when I was losing weight, I was losing 2 pounds a week, and it's like, well, where's that going?
Yeah.
And then where's all this energy coming from? And and then the trainer, the original trainer I had, was trying to argue with me about food, because I had done intermittent fasting and I came in without eating.
Yeah.
And he's giving me a hard time. You need to eat some oatmeal or something before you come in. and I told him, dude, if it wasn't for the way I've been eating, I wouldn't even be here.
Yeah.
So don't talk to me. I've got that part under control. Okay, so yeah, I know what's working, and I'm going to stick with it. So.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I thought of another question. What? Well, I don't remember what it was, but let's see what time it is. So that's been about our hour. Gosh. See, that's still going. Well, I guess.
Work?
Yeah, it's working
good.
still. So
good.
let's see. What other? Oh, okay. So I know what question I was thinking about. So, in the past, you shared that you grew up as the big kid, the fat kid, bigger as adult. Have you tried any other weight loss approaches in your lifetime?
Well, sure. When I was, in my 20s, I actually got thinner again, after college, because we were backpacking all the time.
Okay.
And so there it seemed like just through sheer activity of going backpacking every week and stuff, I actually got fit again. But then as soon as, basically in 1984, we had my son, and at that point I started traveling and for work and all this stuff. And so, yeah, I became very sedentary and never really, I don't know if we want to have this out in the public about the heart attack thing, right?
Oh,
did I mention that to you? Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So, yeah, when I was 50 years old, I had a heart attack.
Okay.
And there, they put me on all these drugs and statins and beta blockers, and I forget what they're all called now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because that's the other part. Okay, so I at that point I did lose some weight, but not a whole lot. I think
What approach did you try then?
Well, just low fat.
Okay.
Low fat.
Okay.
Yeah,
regular
carb.
How did that make you feel when you were trying that?
Oh, it was okay, because my ex-wife had kind of cooked that way anyway. She was sort of semi-vegetarian cook, although we would have barbecue and stuff, like I'd do that.
Okay.
But she would tend to be more vegetarian style and more whole grain, and the kind of hippie from the 70s food.
Yeah.
She was steeped in that, and so we ate that way in her household. The household that my son was brought up in.
Yeah.
And yeah, high sugar, I used to eat ice cream all the time. And, things like that, right?
Yeah.
So anything I wanted. Yeah, it wasn't good. So, but that was actually, then I got divorced, and then I had the heart attack sometime later.
Okay.
So after the heart attack, I tried to do their diet, and basically I hit the highest weight I've ever been. The heart attack was in 2007. And then it was after the heart attack that I really took up the beer hobby in a big way.
Okay.
That was when because what happened was the heart attack really worked on my brain in an interesting way.
Yeah.
It was that my father had died at age 52 from a heart attack.
Okay.
I'm 50. I'm having a heart attack.
Yeah.
I'm going, okay, maybe I'm going to die in the next year or two. If so, why am I working like this?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I ended up doing was I pulled the plug on my career for a few years.
Okay.
And I just lived, okay? And I took up the drinking hobby, the beer hobby. So I was going to the bar like 3 or 4 times a week and hanging out with my friends at the bar, and I had a great social life going at the bar, right?
Yeah.
And eating food at the bar every day, every time I was there, spending $30-40 a day at the bar 4 times a week, and stuff like this, right? And so when I left there, that was in Colorado, and so when I left there, I basically was at my highest, and I hit my highest weight here in 2011. So that's 4 years after the heart attack, and I was 254 pounds.
Okay.
So 50 some pounds more than I am now. 52 pounds more than I am right now. So, And I have pictures from back then, and yeah, you can really tell I was really big. That's the highest ever, 252 pounds.
Okay.
So yeah, so I was down 20 pounds from that when I started last May,
Okay.
and I'm not quite sure how that happened.
Okay.
Well, it was that I stopped combining beer and food.
Okay.
I found that I could only drink beer.
Oh, so you cut back on food. So you
Yeah,
could keep
I
up with the beer,
cut back on food so I could just drink beer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Beer became the food. German street beer as food. In Germany, beer is food. It's
Okay.
taxed like food.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was a bread that you could carry along with you,
Yeah.
basically, and it wouldn't spoil because
Okay.
it had already kind of been spoiled, right? So, but it's not healthy for us.
Oh. Yeah.
I don't think living on beer is not healthy for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Missing a lot of the nutrients and.
Yeah, protein. You're missing all your protein.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, very interesting. So, how about your health markers then? Is that something that you've checked, pre-keto and afterwards, like blood pressure?
Well, yeah, I was going to mention that because I was on all those drugs, right? Well, I was able to, the keto really knocked my blood pressure down,
Okay.
like way. Okay, and then it also did a number on like triglycerides, right? Getting off of beer,
Yeah.
and did a number on triglycerides. So cutting back on carbs really cuts back your triglycerides. But but the last time I got checked, my total cholesterol was way up.
Okay.
Okay, which is something that is unusual for me. And I had been, like I said, concentrating on beef, and so I was supposed to get it checked again in December, but I
Okay.
didn't. So it's time to go and see the doc again. But I know he's going to get down on me if things are still skewed according to their understanding.
Well, and that's normal during weight loss phase then that those numbers are elevated.
That's what I had heard. That's
Yeah.
why I wasn't that concerned about it.
Yeah, and they normally recommend that after your weight is stable,
Yeah.
that things.
Yeah, I was hoping to wait until things had stabilized, but it was right in the middle of all that.
Yeah.
So it was like when things were hot and heavy with weight loss. So from what I'd read, I said, this is going to be bad. So, and it was. So, but then even that's controversial. Is cholesterol bad? Is cholesterol good? Our brains are made of cholesterol. Is statin drugs bad or good? I don't think they're good. So like one of the reasons I stopped statin was because of the of muscle cramps.
Okay.
Because they can cause muscle cramps.
Well-
I have glasses.
Well, anything else that you want to share about your experience with a ketogenic diet?
I think it's been a life changer for me.
Yeah?
Yeah. I never had I tried dieting, just the classic dieting, and you just run into the I'm hungry, and I'm unhappy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I guess I didn't mention before is that I never run out of energy.
Yeah.
Or when you do run out of energy, it's like you really run out of energy. It's like, oh my gosh.
Time to go to sleep.
Yeah. So what was that beeping sound?
No, something on there. She's.
Okay. So you've got like this endless storage of energy that you can call forth. And so nobody's getting hungry here.
Yeah,
And all of a sudden it completely changes the ball game.
Yeah.
It's like, so
I agree. Yeah.
yeah. So I have complete faith in the process. I'm just going to let the process work, and I don't. And the proof is in the results.
Yeah.
And I don't even need to check the results. I mean, I don't need to check. Is it? Am I in ketosis or
Right.
whatever?